It is another day, another weapon overview video. This time it is the insect glaive. Now, I have a confession to make. I know nothing. So my initial thoughts was that the order of weapons that we were gonna get was gonna be this, because this is what it's been for like a long time. My second guess, after we saw the heavy bowgun, is that they were gonna do weapons that we had seen in other videos. So that would be the sword and shield, that would be the gun lance, that would be the long sword. They did the freaking insect glaive. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. They are playing with my emotions. But it's nice because it means that the bow could be any second. But no, it is nice to wake up and not know which weapon it's going to be, instead of being like, oh, it's charge blade time. Oh, it's long sword time. It is nice. I do like it. We are going to watch through the video first. No interruptions. I will keep my finger off the pause button as much as it pains me. And then we'll go through and see what we are looking at. Insect glaive time. Insect glaive. A mobile weapon you can use while controlling a creature known as the Kinsect. Gain powerful buffs by harvesting extracts from monsters. Looks so good. Vault into the air to perform jumping attacks at will. Use focus mode to target a monster's wounds and weak points. So that's the insect glaive. Let's break down and see what we can find. So first of all, this is, to me, clearly Chupacabra armor and weapon. I'm liking the way the weapon, the armor looks. So here you can see the male and female versions. You got the cute little hat. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And remember that this is like an early monster. So for an early armor set, I really like this. I think this looks nice. I like the look of it. I love the way character's hair moves. If you notice the hair when you're watching any of these videos, it's all moving around, which normally was not the case. So this is like your pretty standard kind of aerial attack that you have with the insect glaive, right? It's a pretty standard thing. I believe in World you can do 3 of those. 3 of those. Like after the final attack, if it hits an enemy, you can go into another one, and I think 3 is the max. And then in Rise, you had you had a switch skill that enabled you to just like continuously chain it. Now this right away, super, super good. First of all, shout out to the UI in Wilds. Everything that I've seen in relation to the UI for Wilds is really, really, really clean. This is such a nice quality of life, because what this is doing, if you don't know how the insect glaive works at all, you can extract different types of buffs from a monster depending on where you are extracting that from. So this is actually showing which buff you get. And this is the red buff, the attack increasing buff. So this actually is showing you which one you're gonna get. Up here we have the Kinsect here, where they're gonna extract the buff, and then it's going to go into one of your 3 buffs that you actually have. And then this is the Kinsect's stamina bar for how much they can attack. So there you go. There's the red. 1, bloop. 1, bloop. And notice that there are 2 sections. So in Rise, I'm pretty sure in Rise for sure you had Kinsects that could extract 2, but it was a specific Kinsects that could do it. It wasn't all Kinsects. This makes me think that maybe this is just your default glaive Kinsect. It can extract 2 at a time. We never see them extract 2 at a time, but the fact that there's 2 sections and then they fill up like this. Like, come on. Clearly, this is showing that you can fill up 2. Surely that is what that means. So that's our UI. But while I'm looking at the UI, there's other things happening. So hold on. Let's go back. Okay. So that's sending out the Kinsect and bringing it back to get your buff. That, we did a little stab. Kinsect, come get the buff. Now, this is focus mode. And you can tell it's focus mode with the insect glaive because the stance changes. As well as getting like the reticle that we've seen for other weapons, you also switch to this stance. And now to me, when we're looking at focus mode attacks with the insect glaive, it looks like the Kinsect is just attacking with him. So you know in the beginning when he's like throwing out the Kinsect to get the buff, which is very normal, like you could do that in World, of course. Like you throw it out and then you pull the Kinsect back to get the buff to yourself. You can see him doing that when we first get to see this. And then calling it back. But when they're in focus mode, it looks like the Kinsect is just attacking with him and automatically bringing them the buff, right? Doesn't it look like that? Like he's not doing a recall animation. It looks like it's just attacking with him. Now, of course, you are limited by the Kinsect's stamina. Like the Kinsect can't just like attack with you forever. But if you're in focus mode and you have a Kinsect with stamina, it looks like they just attack with you. And they automatically bring you the buffs, which I love. I think that is such a nice change for the player fantasy of the insect glaive, like you fighting with this little bug friend, right? I think that's really cool because now it actually looks like it's fighting with you to the point where it kind of looks like the Kinsect is doing the same moves as him. Let's go to where, okay, we're in focus mode. I'm going to slow this down because I want to see what the Kinsect is actually doing when you're attacking. Attacking. There goes the Kinsect. Bang. Brings back the buff. Boop. Buff is yours, sir. Bang. Kinsect goes out, does a little flip, gets a buff, comes back. Gives you the buff. Now we're full buffed up on a Sunday morning. And when we're attacking, watch what the Kinsect does. See, he's spinning. Now the Kinsect is in pure attack mode. Like he's got the Kinsect has a buff here on him, but you're full with buffs already. So the Kinsect isn't doing the whole attack the monster, come back, give a buff. It can now just attack. And that's when we get to see, look at this thing. Look at it. It's spinning around in a circle. It's doing all sorts of attacks, like actually attacking with the player. It seems to almost match what the player is doing, right? Like he's doing a horizontal spinny and the Kinsect's doing a horizontal spinny. You do a vertical spinny and the Kinsect does a little vertical spinny. See, it's vertical spinny, watch. Vertical spinny. Vertical spinnies. So if you're not in focus mode, I don't know if the Kinsect just attacks with you or not. Kind of doesn't look like it. These moves look dope. This is a pretty standard thing to get into the air. That, I believe, is our first showcase of a mount, my friends. I believe that is our first mount, which makes sense for it to be shown on the insect glaive. Also, we get to see a little oasis in the desert. We get to see a little oasis in the desert. That's nice. And some rocks. Nice. Because we've only just seen, in the desert area, we've kind of just seen, like, desert. But, yeah, we got to see a little bit of a mount action. This whole sequence, I love this so much. The attacks just look so cool, man. They look so good. Go into the air, hit the head, get a mount. Now here we have the focus strike. So as we said, we have focus mode and every weapon is getting a focus mode move. And this is their focus mode move. Look at that. Bang! That's so sick. It looks so good. Stab, backflip, Kinsect, boom. And then this thing. We're gonna slow it down. This weapon is too fast. We gotta go slower. Oh my lord. Okay, there's the mount. Here's the focus strike in slow motion. Stab. Backflip. Kinsect boom. God, the animations are so good, man. So good. And then here we have... I don't know. He's spinning. Now, so here's my actual thoughts. I don't know if this is like just a move that you're going to be able to do, or potentially it could be your like dismounting attack, right? Because we've seen that a lot before where Bo will jump up in the air and shoot him, and there's a bunch of dismounting attacks. So it could be a dismount because the character is coming from the air. Now, it's possible that he could just be jumping on top of the monster, but this could also be that you finished your mount, right? You've stabbed him, and then you do a little leap into your spin move to dismount. I don't know. Either way, it looks awesome. And it makes me really excited because Wild seems a little bit crazier than World, you know? Like a little bit crazier. I don't know. A little bit crazier. So I'm looking at the ground for powders. I don't think I'm seeing any, sorry, not powder, dust. I don't think I'm seeing any dust. Although, what is that? Is that Balahara? Is that Balahara's stank breath, or is that dust? So for context, correct me if I'm wrong, but the insect glaive in World allowed you to leave dust behind. So there would be like blast dust, which then you could attack and it would explode. That'd be poison dust. There was even like healing dust that you could leave behind and interact with. Do you think this is dust? No, it's not. It's just stank breath. Okay. It looked green. I was like, maybe. So, I mean, this is still like an early insect glaive, right? We know that this is from Chatacabra. I would guess that Chatacabra might be like the second monster after Doshaguma, or it's the first. I don't know. So it's still possible that dust could exist. But we just don't know right now. Look at what the Kinsect is doing here, by the way. Keep an eye on the Kinsect, because the Kinsect is popping off. Look at that. So to me, it looks like the Kinsect dives in the air with you and then like smacks the monster on the head. Look, boom. That's so cool. And he's not in focus mode here. He's not in focus mode. This is regular, as far as I can tell. If they're not, and as long as they're like not showing us the UI for focus mode. Man, every weapon has looked so goddamn cool. What do you guys think? Couple things. Here's my big takeaways. My big takeaways without me speculating, like just being able to talk about what I'm seeing. I love the UI change to see what buff you're going to extract from the monster. That was a thing you just had to learn. And this is like really, really, really nice. This is a really nice change. I also love the UI. We'll go back to where they're showing us the UI. This is so clean. You can very easily see what buff your Kinsect has, what buffs you have here, and the stamina of your Kinsect. I think it looks perfect. I love it. And then the biggest thing that I'm super excited about, and I'm so happy they did this for Kinsect Insect Glaive players, is the Kinsect attacking along with you. That is honestly huge. It is huge for player fantasy, because a big part of player fantasy of the Insect Glaive is obviously being very mobile and being able to fly in the sky. But another part is that you have a little buddy that you're fighting with, and the little buddy is actually fighting with you alongside you. It's so cool. One thing I do want to show you guys that I think is kind of important is this. So the website, very important thing. So on here, greatsword, right? Able to guard. Okay. Heavy bowgun. Able to guard. Oh, okay. Insect glaive. Unable to guard. Now, this is really, really interesting because you'll be thinking like, yeah, obviously, duh, these are just weapons that can guard. Who cares? But they're focusing on it a lot. They are focusing on it heavily. Like, out of all the things that you could list as what weapons can do, right? Why would you specify the ability to guard and not guard? It's weird to put a focus on it. It is strange. So then putting a focus on it makes me think what Enelege said, that maybe those counterattacks and the clash attacks are only happening with weapons that can guard. Now, this opens things up for someone like me, who I was like, I can use 2 weapons. Okay, I'm going to bring 2 bows. I'm going to bring 2 bows. I'm going to bring like maybe a blast bow and a water bow and a fire bow, a poison bow and a raw bow. I can bring 2 bows, which might seem crazy, but when a bow is all about like matching elements, being able to carry 2 elements with me is actually really enticing. It's really enticing. But now that they have this focus on guarding and not guarding, this makes me go, maybe I do want to bring a greatsword with me so I can guard. Maybe I do want to bring I assume a lance will be able to guard. They have a shield, or a sword and shield, right? I love sword and shield, so I'd probably do sword and shield. Because then I get to interact with counter hits and clash attacks. So I could fight a monster, get my clash attack off, and then get on secret, switch to my bow and go back to fighting him, because I assume you're not going to be able to do those clash attacks all the time. And that's really enticing. That is really, really, really enticing. So I kind of like what they're doing here. I initially thought that every single weapon was going to have a counterattack and a clash attack, but now I'm leaning towards I'm not totally wrong. And it's the weapons that are able to guard that have clash attacks and counterattacks. And then that, I think, is actually kind of smart, because Wilds is enabling you to bring 2 weapons onto the field. So then if you are a main of a weapon who can't clash or counterattack, like Insect Glaive, bow, what else would maybe hunting horn, dual blades, any of those weapons, then you can also have a secondary weapon that can guard, so you can counterattack and clash. But yeah, keep an eye on this stuff. Keep an eye on the unable to guard, able to guard thing, because they're putting such a big focus on it. And if I just speak with the facts that we know, both weapons that have been able to guard have had a counterattack and a clash attack.